Hello, how's everybody doing? This is my multi-genre paper. It is called A Person's History of Hamilton High School Basketball. On the cover is my first year as a freshman assistant high school basketball coach for Hamilton High. I'll be taking on kind of like a timeline from taking you through the history of Hamilton basketball and my connection to the program, kind of my history and my experiences with it. So that being said, my first piece is called Personal Background, and kind of like my dear reader. I'm going to visual with it. If someone wants to hit a light, I don't know how bright it'll show. Or
it's good.
Okay. My grandfather grew up in Laughlin, Ohio, a town just north of Cincinnati that only gets mentioned if there are traffic issues around the Laughlin split. He played basketball for Laughlin High School during a time in which Laughlin was one of the epicenters of high school basketball. Upon finding this information, I quickly wanted to know if my grandfather played for those famed teams that hail from Laughlin. Naivete was a harsh slap in the face as I Googled deep dived into Laughlin athletics history. Laughlin and the neighboring Lincoln Heights, segregated by location, decided to desegregate their schools in the 1940s, separating the two schools by race. Laughlin Wayne High School, drawing from the students in Woodlawn and Lincoln Heights, won 2 state titles in basketball, which added to the successes that Lincoln Heights was producing. Nicky Giovanni, the Isley brothers, Carl Westmoreland, and Cincinnati Bearcat Hall of Famer Tony Yates all hailed from the small section of town hidden by the I-75's traffic jams. My grandfather, beginning in a diverse community growing up, ended his days on a farm outside a community full of turmoil, racial divide, and a community rich in basketball history. Living in Westchester, a true example of modern suburbia, neighborhoods growing out of the ground like the corn and the beans that rose up before them, I would have to travel through Hamilton to get to my grandfather's farm. Little did I know that my career path would thrust me into the city that resembles my grandfather's experience. Hamilton basketball has 4 state titles, 3 clustered before the 60s, with 2004 being the lone outlier. Discussion of that history is dustier than the history books the town has opened. In my second year as a basketball coach, the old banners in the gym are just that, old. They have no meaning, no motivation, no connection to the past. The incoming freshmen in this year's class are a part of history, the last year, the last game, the last connection of a city that will still be divided by the river. The Garfield-Wilson middle school basketball game was the one passionate glimpse into a complicated divide of a city that is best known for the world's best water. My incoming class is divided, their knowledge of history non-existent, their focus on the here, the now, not the way back when. For Hamilton to rise, they need more than basketball, they need an education. Handling 2 copies is kind of complicated. In my research, I stumbled upon this idea of banners, so this is what I came up with. Banners less fortunate. As you enter high school gym, banners hold and catch a wandering eye, wondering about the history hanging in the sky. No pictures, no stories, no voice to tell the tale of the schools from which those banners hail. Numbers 4 or 2 represent the year of celebration, drawing many a tear. Presented a royal decree deserving of a grand parade. Horns and cheers rang through the streets. Triumphant jubilation for all those who played. Those are the lucky ones. Some banners less fortunate, do not hang at all. Rolled up and lost, those memories fade and fall. Some banners are assuredly forgotten, dried up as if they were rotten, left to hang at the mercy of the wind. Those thoughts, those threads, much too thin. Some banners are left to be collected, to be sold off as window dressing, a college dorm room, a has-been's garage, a fate that is utterly depressing. And as you can see on the right-hand side is a list of all the schools that have won their boys basketball state titles that have been consolidated. The state of Ohio went through a giant consolidation of schools. They had a lot of like neighborhood and small town schools, and because of funding and location and things like that, these schools have been lost in consolidation. As you'll notice, Lakota High School in Westchester was never Lakota East or Lakota West, as well as 62 Hamilton Taft. My next piece is from a teacher's point of view about a concerned student that has not so perfect attendance. As a teacher, sometimes I find myself having to call home. I have to call their parents who are deep in the history of Hamilton. And as you can see, the father, Hamilton the first, has a wonderful attendance record throughout the 50s. He showed up all the time and in great number and in great participation. However, I have a student in my classroom, Hamilton III, who's not living up to his father's level. And as a teacher, I had to make notes. I had to call his parents. Where has he been? His dad's attendance, it was spotless. These are the things that I would do as a teacher to kind of figure out what is going on with my student and why he is not showing up. At the top, 6-word memoir. 8 years of losing ended tonight. And then drawing on the same picture. Jaws. When left open, signify a moment in time that all is suspended in animation. Your face, eyes, body, time, all known. Finally found the title for it. It's a quote by Judy Garland. If I'm such a legend, then why am I so lonely? Judy Garland. Empty, the scoreboard, the bleachers, the benches, the nets, the clock, all sit in waiting, tick-tock. No one to read the signs. Lonely, it's not full. Light bursts through upper windows, no artificial sunrise to hide the shadows, few signs of all the previous battles. Lonely, as the moon is full. Creaking, a door moans open, bouncing echoes off the walls, feeling broken. Those artificial beacons take control. Lonely, but not yet full. Only one arrives to lift this place, this hallowed space, as if all the banners vanished without a trace. Lonely, some say he's a fool. The one brings hope, a fighter's chance, anxious to make a city dance, a pride that few left have known. Lonely his light, almost out of fuel. Numbers trickle in the unused gym. All thoughts, all hopes, they point to him. Unfortunately, they are all his own. Lonely when it's full. Pre-game speech, locker room speech. Tonight is the beginning of your high school basketball careers, but it is the end of an era in Hamilton High School basketball. You may not realize it, but you are a part of your hometown's history. As you wear Hamilton's jersey for the first time, it will be the first time you haven't identified with Garfield or Wilson, your side of town, who your friends are, and who you hang out with. You are the last class to enter Hamilton High School, separated as crosstown rivals. You represent 56 years of divide between Hamilton Garfield and Hamilton Taft, or as you know them as Garfield and Wilson Middle Schools. Hamilton High School, before the split in 1959, was one of the greatest basketball programs in the entire state. Rivalry games against Middletown were played in Cincinnati at the Gardens, which was one of the first big sports venues. 13,000 people regularly showed up for these games, almost as popular as the Beatles concert, who drew 14,000 in their first concert in Cincinnati. Together, Hamilton High School has won 4 state titles, and we are the last GMC team to win it in 2004. When you step on that court tonight, think about the name on your jersey, on your chest, what Hamilton basketball means to you, what the city, your hometown, means to you. It is your responsibility to bring those state championships back, that winning tradition of Hamilton. You are the present and the future of Hamilton basketball. You are the class that will set the bar for the next 50 years of Hamilton basketball. You are the class of 2019, are the next state championships to wear Hamilton across your chest. The only way you can achieve these goals is to fight together for this city, for each other, in this locker room. All right, this is an experiment. I need somebody to write down what I say. Is there anybody who would like to?
I can. I guess. Maybe.
It's a little performance. I haven't written anything. Just been thinking about it. And, which is the reason why I wore the shirt today. So the title of the poem is called "Just a Baller from Hamilton." I hate this shirt. I loathe this shirt. This shirt is everything that I don't want my kids to be. Just a baller from Hamilton. A baller, a shot collar, 20-inch blades on the Impala. That is not what I want for my kids. I don't want them to be that restricted, just a baller. I do not want them to be just a baller. They need to be more. They need to be citizens. They need to be representative of who Hamilton basketball and who Hamilton is, a national school district of character. They need to be more than just a baller from Hamilton. Okay, and that's my message.
That was really good. That was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
And it's recorded.